What happens when your relationship problems literally start fusing your bodies together? Well, that's the premise of Together. It's the new body horror romance starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And yeah, it gets weird in all the right ways, so we're gonna break it all down in the spoiler-free review. Let's get started. So the movie Together is about this couple, Tim and Millie. They go from living in the big city to living in the countryside because Millie gets a new job as a school teacher. Well, they go start investigating the area that they're living in, just doing some exploring. They find a cave, they fall in, and then after that, things just aren't right with each other. They start really kind of needing each other in the weirdest way, and their bodies start to do a little weird thing like this. It gets creepy, it gets a little weird, gets a little gross, but it does get a little emotional and a little bit relatable, and that's what drew me into this movie. Now, I saw the trailer for this movie a few months back, and I thought to myself, sick, we're getting another body horror movie, let's go, this one looks crazy. And yes, it is a body horror movie at its core, completely. But there's something else to this movie that really drew me in, and I actually liked this aspect of this movie more than the actual crazy images that they do end up showing us. And we're gonna get there in the spoiler-free review, but before we go there, let's talk about a few other things, starting with the cast. We have Dave Franco and Alison Brie. They star as Tim and Millie, and they're in a relationship in this movie, but if you didn't know this, they're actually married in real life. They've been married for 5-10 years, something like that, but they've been together for a very long time. So they have chemistry, and it really does show when you're watching this movie of everything that comes in a relationship, right? The crazy amount of love that you have for the other person, or there might be some resentment towards the other person, and they go hard into the dualities of a relationship, the highs and the lows. And I think that because they are married in real life and they have all this chemistry and they've gone through a lot, I'm assuming they've gone through a lot of what their characters do in this movie, it just makes it all much better and a lot more believable in their performance. So both of them, across the board, knock it out of the park in this. You really believe what they're selling. Now, I'm not saying that they are very likable or you're gonna fall in love with these characters, but they are relatable and you do end up liking them, and you're so invested in what's going on, how it's affecting them. Are they gonna make it out of this alive? And at the end of the day, in any kind of horror movie, or really just any movie in general, that's what you want to feel for the people that you're following in the movie. So it all comes together really well based on their performances and their chemistry. And another thing about their performance, this movie is generally very creepy, very ominous, kind of bleak in a weird way. But there are times in this movie where the dark, creepy, whatever's happening does kind of tonally shift to kind of a comedy. And it's not a straight up in your face, oh, that's funny, that's supposed to be funny. But in the context of what's happening in the movie, it's pretty funny. And the way that they play off of that, of, you know, walking that line of, hey, we still gotta understand that this is a creepy, bad situation, but what's happening in this exact moment is kind of funny, all things considered. And they are able to, you know, play on that and make us believe that they are scared, but the things that they're saying are hilarious. And it really kind of fits in their character because it's not like out of nowhere they're saying these weird, off-putting things. That is their character, and so it makes it a lot more believable when the comedic things happen. It's not a lot, but they're able to, you know, show both sides of that, of being serious and immediately going into something kind of funny. The direction and the visuals in this movie are something else. Now, it's not gonna change the game or, you know, move the genre forward, but they have a lot of good ideas here. They have a lot of cool ideas messing with the actual theme of the movie, which the theme of the movie is codependency. It's who you are inside the relationship, it's who you are outside of the relationship. If you've ever been in a long-term relationship, you've probably asked yourself those questions, or at least dealt with that idea, or maybe you really, really went into that. Either way, that idea of that theme of this movie, they go hard. They go so hard with very creative ways of showing us that that is what this movie is about. It is very much in your face in a lot of the dialogue and what the characters go through, but there's a scene in this movie, which I won't get into too much detail because this is a spoiler-free review. The couple, Tim and Millie. Millie leaves the house, she's in her red car, Tim stays at the house. We see the directions and the way that she's driving correlates with what he's doing at home. Such a simple idea, but such a cool idea to show us that that is the theme of this movie without actually saying it. So there's a lot of examples like that in this movie, but that's one of them that really stuck out to me. Otherwise, the movie is very ominous. It's kind of darker. It's not Longlegs dark. Longlegs had this you know, filter over it that seemed very evil and very dark. It's not like that, but it is gritty. It feels like a very gritty movie, which is what you want in a body horror movie that you know that you signed up for. So overall, the tone of the movie, the direction of the movie, a lot of good ideas. There's one dream sequence in this movie that is terrifying. Like the way that they transition from one thing to the next took me by surprise. Very well done. But overall, that's not what this movie is. It's not going into the jump scares or the imagery that way. So that's kind of a one-off scene. But there are a lot of cool ideas that make up a horror movie in this horror movie. Now, as far as the sound and the score goes, there wasn't really much there for me. There wasn't anything that really stood out to make whatever is happening on the screen really kind of elevate its game. Everything that I got from this movie was because of the visuals, from the dialogue, things like that. So unfortunately, there wasn't really anything else to really elevate it, but either way, it still got its point across. It was still effective to me. So even with not the best score to a horror movie or the best sound, it still worked. Now let's go back to that thing I was talking about earlier. The theme of this movie, the theme of Together, is codependency, who you are in and outside of the relationship. It's real, it's raw, and that was my favorite part of the movie. Yes, I went into this movie wanting to see the nastiest thing possible, and you get some crazy stuff in the back half of the movie. But when I was really reflecting on this, what I loved most about this was the characters, was the story, what they went through in that relationship. Because like I said, it's real and it's raw, and it goes to a very uncomfortable place that a lot of people, if you've been in a long-term relationship, have probably gone to. It might not be to this extent of the resentment and the love and the highs and the lows, but there's gonna be stuff there that you've thought about, that you've tiptoed into. Like there's just themes in there that's just being human. That's just being human and being in a relationship, which I thought was such a great and uncomfortable place to be. And that's why I always talk on this channel that horror movies, the horror genre, is the best genre in film. They're not always good. There are some bad ones in there, and it is what it is. But the good ones really want to go there and really sit with these really uncomfortable ideas that a lot of other movies don't. And they build off of that. Like I said, this is a body horror movie, but that's second to what they're actually trying to get to, which I thought was just a great idea and a great play on the actual theme of the movie. So that was my favorite part of the movie. I think they nailed what they were trying to say to us. It was great. Now overall, Together is much more than just a gross body horror movie. There's emotion to it. It's a rich story about love, resentment, and the crazy ways that we attach ourselves to another person. So if you go into this movie expecting some crazy imagery and a deeper meaning, you're gonna be really satisfied with this one. And disturbed. Now if you saw Together, let me know what stuck with you the most, the horror or the relationship. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.